Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Coin Lady channel. Please close your eyes for a moment while I explain something. If you're behind the wheel, don't do anything risky like closing your eyes. That's true, you know. The choice is yours. But think about it. Doing stupid things, like thinking Bitcoin has some sort of technological or moral advantage over XRP. True, the high moral ground. To prove my point that Bitcoin maximalism is the worst crypto virus ever, I'm going to tell you some ridiculous things Bitcoin maximalists say. Not that it matters to me. That is complete and utter nonsense. Waste of time. There's no reason for it to be around. And if you ask me, it's all just ideologically driven nonsense and horse pucky. So, there is this famous person called Mark Ross. On his Twitter page, he has a lot of negative feedback from followers. I haven't heard of him before, but I'm guessing many of you have. A significant 125,100 people follow him on this platform. He also considers himself a history buff. Maximum fiscal independence, supporter of sound money, and advocate for liberty. Bitcoin hashtag. Radio program broadcast nationally on iHeartRadio and online at YouTube. That settles it, then? He must be quite famous around these parts. Many commenters referred to him as a Bitcoin extremist, and I saw this as a common response. I have no idea if he identifies as such, but based on his actions, he seems to fit the bill. And this is just another example of someone with a prominent audience making sweeping generalizations about a topic about which he is woefully uninformed. That's why he shouldn't be so sure of himself. His assurance is misplaced, and he is simply wrong. Incorrect, and it appears to originate in his conviction that he is acting ethically because of some form of technology. It's also strange. It's just so strange. So today is the day we tear this thing to pieces. But before I go any further, I do want to clarify something. I come from a totally cash-strapped family. Nothing I say or write should be taken as recommendations to buy or sell any security. Just a hobbyist here who occasionally posts videos to YouTube on various crypto-related topics. In a tweet from the day before, Mark Moss set the ball rolling with the following: imagine, oh, by the way, you can open your eyes now if you haven't done that yet, especially if you're driving. To some extent, I agree. Again, the choice is yours. You get to decide. But, he says, picture yourself as a member of the XRP army, where your bull thesis revolves around the idea of speeding up bank transfers of money rather than supporting Bitcoin's libertarian monetary ideals. Then there's the facepalm emoji on his keyboard. How many of my fellow XRP holders out there base their entire thesis, reason, and justification for holding XRP on the fact that it facilitates bank-to-bank money transfers? That is your sole justification. And I can see that not a single hand is going up. That is what I suspect. I know there are more of you out there than I can see. There are a lot of people who should be raising their hands, but I doubt it because there are many good reasons to hold XRP. Ripple has done a good job of positioning XRP to benefit the established financial system, which is a big plus. However, we will explain this further because he doesn't realize how hypocritical his stance is given Bitcoin's role in supporting the established financial system. But I'm jumping the gun, so let's tackle this in chronological order. Courtney, one of the XRP community members, recently replied to Mark Moss with an opinion shared by many of us. And keep in mind that I support Bitcoin, that I hold Bitcoin, that I have held Bitcoin since 2017, that I support Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. Currently, I'm juggling around 30 different coins. Simply put, I don't subscribe to the maximalism that leads to such a foolish existence, and so I don't practice it. It's an incredibly naive way to approach life. Wow, I've followed you for a long time, Courtney wrote. At a time when all members of the crypto community must work together for the sake of the industry's future. The very faction that they wanted to eliminate is being manufactured by Salty Max. Disappointing. There's just one thing about Courtney I have to memorize. You finally hit the mark there. In the end, Mark Moss gave a reply. In a moment, I'll show you some of my responses, which I'm sure he saw because they gained traction, but he said nothing about. That's fine by me. He never replied to my letter. I have no debt to him. But that fact alone is somewhat revealing. I think he saw that his argument was on shaky ground, if you get my meaning. However, in response to Courtney, he did say that the people must unite. For some reason, I keep thinking of, and he wrote together in quotes. Okay. He continued, saying that we must band together to resist and fight for our individual rights to privacy and expression. Technologies like Bitcoin make this possible, while other technologies help entrenched regimes maintain control. We do need to meet, but you get to pick the location. Again, the fact that he's watching makes this situation hilarious. You'll notice that XRP aids banks while Bitcoin opposes them. When both Bitcoin and XRP are used to support the traditional banking sector of the economy, he's completely unaware of this. He's just rambling on and on. Now he's just rambling. His radio program is broadcast across the country. All he's doing is talking. You're welcome. I agree with most of what you said, Mark, was Courtney's response. I, too, am an advocate for individual liberty. I own Bitcoin, Ether, and XRP. And so on. I just don't understand why Bitcoin can be enjoyed in only one way. I appreciate XRP practicality. And it might facilitate the banking of the unbanked and increase the velocity of money. We should fight for both, why can't we? That's another one I'm going to have to heart. True, as usual, Courtney. Exactly. Simply put, you're taking the most reasonable tack possible because you didn't drink the Kool-Aid. Courtney, on the other hand, is obviously not ideologically motivated. This is how people who are ideologically driven and who drank the Kool-Aid end up in these positions. The last time Mark Moss corresponded with her, he told her that XRP was only for financial institutions. With Bitcoin, you can act as your own bank. Again, this is all false information. Simply put, XRP is a decentralized cryptocurrency developed to be a technological improvement upon Bitcoin. To some extent, that was the plan. You should know that XRP was developed before Ripple even launched. XRP was developed despite the fact that its potential use was unclear. It was more advanced technologically, with extra features and a decentralized exchange already built in. Tokens, formerly known as IOU, were the next big thing after XRP, and they could be issued on ETH as well. You realize the whole point of XRP is to be able to transfer value without banks, right? Wrote ex-Ripple employee and skeptic Matt Hamilton. As if that were the point of cryptography. Dead on. I responded with, "This is the first of a few tweets I had to him, which was written by Matt Hamilton and me. I think I wrote it down." Additionally, this was viewed 10,600 times, garnering 372 likes and 30 retweets. And this is a response to that. I'm not sure if you're all familiar with how the Twitter algorithm functions, but the primary tweet is the one that will most likely be featured prominently in people's news feeds. The replies to the original tweets don't get as much attention because, it's a newsfeed. Consequently, there was no chance that my video would ever attract as many viewers as his. Even so, it's not exactly something that would have been flashing in his alerts all the time. There's no way he didn't see it. This guy who drives a Moon family sedan keeps getting on his nerves in his feed. That's just one of the tweets, by the way. I'll be showing you even more. Accordingly, here is what I replied to his initial tweet with, "I'm assuming you don't know this and probably won't like this, but XRP and the XRP ledger are currently being used as Layer 2 technology by Spend the Bits to move Bitcoin instantly. Layer 1 networking is inefficient and outdated. There is no need for a lightning cable. That settles it then. You have XRP and the XRP ledger, which are currently being used to make instantaneous Bitcoin transactions, and which he claims are XRP for the banks. This is not a scientific study. This is currently transpiring. What is the amount of your wager?" He has no idea that by trashing XRP in this article, he's actually contributing to Bitcoin's long-term viability. How confident are you that he has no idea what you're talking about? Yup. I'd put money on that being correct. Then, in a subsequent tweet, which is, to be frank, even more damning. No matter what we do, Mark Moss's situation will not improve. The situation is not going to improve. He's completely out of his depth. I followed up his tweet with my own response. Like Ripple has done with XRP, Bitcoin is being positioned to aid legacy banking by Strike Jack Dollars. Not a lot of people haven't heard by now, but Jack Dollars, who apparently always wears a hoodie, runs a company called Strike. Runs C-Note from Alice Paul. I think it happened within the last few years, but I'm not sure. I still remember when he first released that demo of the technology in action. It was basically a demonstration of what Ripple was doing in 2015, when they were using the Lightning Network to convert Bitcoin into a bridge currency. Thus, his initial technology was fundamentally flawed. He had ideological motivations for wanting to do just that. Bro, he's all about Bitcoin, but his tech stack was inferior to what Ripple used to get started with XRP and the XRP ledger. However, he has the right to do as he pleases. Those who are physically capable of fighting and winning should do so. That's fine with me. I believe in free enterprise. But in any case, there's a new company that's trying to compete with Ripple in this regard. Now, Strike is attempting several things that Ripple is not. So, the two do not completely coincide. They aren't totally at odds with one another. However, Ripple is the more popular business. As a transitional currency, XRP is quickly replacing other options. On top of all that, it's one of the most widely traded cryptocurrencies today. You need to have a sufficient amount of Bitcoin set in those payment channels on Lightning networks, so the fact that Bitcoin is more liquid is irrelevant. Consequently, Bitcoin's global liquidity is hurting it. However, I wrote that Bitcoin is poised to aid legacy banking through Strike, and I won't go into any more detail than that. In the same way that Ripple is using XRP, Jack Dollars. Let's turn your logic on its head to show how absurd it is. Picture yourself as a Bitcoin maximalist whose entire bull thesis rests on the idea that you can speed up bank transfers of money. Okay, that's just plain ridiculous, right? Is there a Bitcoin maximalist who bases their entire bull case on the hope that Bitcoin will facilitate instantaneous bank-to-bank money transfers? In my opinion, the correct response is no one. It's not the case in every case. Today, some are placing their bets on Bitcoin's potential as a transitional currency that can support established financial institutions. And if it catches on, that's fantastic. I, too, am a Bitcoin owner. I don't mind, because I'm all for competition in general, but all I had to do was substitute Bitcoin for XRP to show the ludicrousness of his statement. Both XRP and Bitcoin are being positioned as a bridge currency. That's news to him. He has no idea. I'm going to assume I need to make a guess. I tweeted him again right before we filmed this to ask, here is Bitcoin helping banks transfer money faster? In direct quotation from what he had written. In a literal sense. Will you finally admit that your previous Bitcoin maxi position made no sense? I highly doubt it, but to illustrate my point, I've linked to a January 31, 2018 article on Yahoo Finance that I'd like to briefly discuss. Bitcoin is currently being used as a means to support the established monetary system. And if Jack Dollars succeeds in making his Strike company the industry standard, Ripple will collapse and XRP will become obsolete. If Jack Mueller has his way, the entire market will shift to Bitcoin. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but even if it does, Bitcoin is the coin of the bankers, right? Isn't it a banker's coin now that it's benefiting financial institutions? If you're going to say XRP is, you have to be intellectually honest and say the same thing about Bitcoin. However, this has nothing to do with truthfulness. All it takes is a simple statement to feed his Bitcoin mega fan base. According to what Peter has read, the digital payments company Strike is bringing its Bitcoin-based Lightning Network-based international money transfer service to the Philippines. In an effort to cash in on one of the world's largest remittance markets, worth an estimated $12 billion in the country. According to a press release, the remittance service known globally by that name will launch in the Philippines on Tuesday. Bitcoin transactions are processed on the Lightning Network, a Layer 2 scaling solution. According to the announcement, the service allows for the receipt of foreign currency in the form of local currency in the recipient's bank or mobile money account. That settles it, then? Together, Ripple's technology, XRP, the XRP ledger, and on-demand liquidity could be used for various The information is clearly displayed on the screen. There have been countless other articles written about this topic over the years. He's completely unaware of this. Perhaps half a decade ago, he might have been able to fool people with his bogus story that XRP is for banks and Bitcoin isn't, but he'll have a hard time doing so in the year 2023. Do we not need to use nets when going to the internet and the Googles, in his opinion? Does he seriously believe that we can't find S***T with our chubby little fingers? I can't say. It's perfect for steaming my greens. Folks, on with the article. Strike's groundbreaking efforts to legitimize Bitcoin in El Salvador have made waves in the financial world. Its current mission is to use Lightning's low-cost and near-instant payments to disrupt the multi-billion-dollar remittance industry, which it claims is hampered by high fees and slow processing times. CEO and founder of Strike Jack Mueller has provided a quote. "There is no such thing as a quick, cheap, and enjoyable international crossing. Some of what we've accomplished is only now possible thanks to the Lightning Network underlying Bitcoin," quote end. But that's obviously not the case, because XRP was already doing that over 5 years ago. That obviously isn't the case. However, it is true that this exact same damn purpose is being served by Bitcoin and the Lightning Network. Really enjoying myself here. Having a good time tearing nonsense to pieces. This is what happens when ideological nonsense is spoken publicly on a large scale with great conviction. Because, it's fine to make a mistake. No, I'm completely wrong. I beg to differ. Obviously, he's wrong about this. But, it's best because he has to know he is not well informed on XRP because he hasn't done any research, clearly, or else he wouldn't have the opinions. You would say things like "I think" or "I suppose" so if you were being intellectually honest. You don't have to be an expert on everything if you're communicating honestly and just trying to find the truth. It's also fine to assume something to be correct. The opposite is true. That's not the case here. That's obvious to you, right? He gave in and drank the Kool-Aid, damn him. This guy is just being mean. And for someone to be in that position, they're obviously not a crypto newbie. This person is featured in multiple national publications. Okay, something of a higher quality than this. This means that it is possible for all of us to be incorrect, which is perfectly acceptable. This is a special case where I don't give a crap about the truth, so disregard that. I don't have integrity on a mental level. If you were intellectually honest, you'd admit, "Oh wow, I didn't know all of these things. I don't understand what he's up to." Crickets. He's dishonest on a philosophical level. Certainly not in the same class. To err is human, but this calls for special consideration. Ideology, right here. Exactly what it sounds like. The truth is irrelevant. The truth was irrelevant to him. He was unwilling to learn the truth. There's a different whole, like there are some people who will do the research and then know that something is against their financial interests and they'll just lie about it, so he probably didn't know this. He might be up to something like that. But I think the more likely explanation is that he is simply unaware of the answer. But in public, he expresses these strong opinions that are total nonsense. And then there was this from lawyer John Deaton, who retweeted Mark Moss and asked, "Who started this whole thing?" In a tweet titled Imagine having an opinion about the motivations of a very diverse group of people without any idea what motivates those people, John Deaton wrote. Exactly. He doesn't know what he's talking about at all. For instance, if he has been keeping up with the SEC Ripple case, he will be aware of the amicus brief. So many different kinds of businesses have been discussing the value of XRP, not just to spend the bits but to do things like tap jets, for instance. Bill Morgan, an attorney and XRP community member, added his 2 cents. When Mark Mawson tweeted, "Imagine having so little confidence in a crypto that has the advantage of being first in time and is the only one," he retweeted it. The SEC does not consider your time spent criticizing another security to be worth the effort, especially since you managed to get the facts wrong. That makes a lot of sense. No doubt Bitcoin has the early adopter advantage. Why are you trembling in terror? Why waste your time tweeting about XRP if it's garbage? Obviously, he's incorrect about the details. Perhaps he's worried about it. I can't say. I fail to see the logic behind this. But seriously, look, criticism is acceptable. Feedback is fine with me. However, XRP has its flaws. In the past, it actually stopped. I do recognize that fact, though. However, the criticism that Ripple hoards too much is justified. As for me, I couldn't care less. The criticisms are valid, though smart contracts aren't included in the base layer. You're welcome. However, this is a valid point of criticism. So, you grasp my point, right? I mean, I get that XRP has some limitations. Not everything is possible for it to do, and that's okay. There are also some drawbacks. Indeed, so what? It still doesn't negate the fact that it's incredible. Take a look at all the cool things it can do. Examine the actual backing. It's one of the most widely accepted and utilized digital currencies in the world today. Mark Moss, however, continues to spread his utter nonsense. Really gets under my skin, people. I'm not a professional banker. Nothing I say or write should be used as a basis for making financial decisions. In the end, please like and subscribe my channel. See you in the next video, bye.